Hey everyone, I'm Deborah, one of your module leaders. In this video, we're going to look at the basic concept of risk and how to apply it to our AAA case study from Unit 15. Make sure you've got your CSG handy so you can refer to it as we go through. Let's get started. As auditors, our job is to figure out whether the financial statements prepared by management are in accordance with the applicable reporting framework. The traditional audit assumes we count test everything, so we focus on the areas which are most likely to be materially misstated. That is, we take a risk-based audit approach. This means we identify and assess risks, then design and perform audit procedures in response to those risks. The detailed guidance is in ISO 315 revised and ISO 330. In this video, we're going to focus on the thought process behind ISO 315 revised, which goes like this. Here's the universe of all possible risks. Does it affect the business? If yes, then we've got business risks. Does it affect the financial statements? If yes, then we've got risks of misstatement. Is it material? If yes, that's a risk of material misstatement. Are there special audit considerations? If yes, that's a significant risk. And is it related to the possibility of fraud? If yes, that's a fraud risk. My care factor for the stuff that never makes it past here, pretty low. The stuff that does make it through down here, that's what I'm going to focus on. And the further down it is, the more I'm going to care about it. Risk is the effect of uncertainty on objectives. Translation, it's the possibility that something you don't want to happen, happens. There's 3 necessary conditions for risk. 1, a specific objective, that's what you want. 2, undesirable outcomes, that's what you don't want. And 3, uncertainty, that's the likelihood of each possible outcome. Let's apply this to our case study, beginning with the objective. Based on the background information, what do you think Monty Travel's objective might be? Hit pause, then press play when you've got your answer. So, businesses usually have a mission statement. That's their objective. The background information on Monty Travel doesn't say what this is, but we can look at a similar company to get an idea of what it might be. For example, Flight Center's mission is to open up the world for those who want to see. What we can see is how Monty Travel breaks its mission down into smaller objectives, like providing packaged holidays in Australia and New Zealand, as well as Asia and Europe. So that means risks in the business context are undesirable outcomes that make it harder or prevent a business from fulfilling its mission statement. Can you think of some business risks for Monty Travel? Think about what Monty Travel needs in order to sell its packaged holidays. Write down 5 to 10 things, and I'll see you when you're done. Hopefully you wrote down a few things like, what if people stop using travel agents? And what if people have a bad experience with Monty Travel? All of these things will make it harder or prevent Monty Travel from selling its packaged holidays. We could come up with more, but let's start with these and see if they apply to Monty Travel by looking at the information that's available. Our file notes tell us that Monty Travel's market share has dropped due to online competitors, and more customers are booking directly online instead of using a travel agent. Clearly, there's a risk factor around the change in market trend to customers booking directly with airlines and hotels. Similarly, for the possibility that customers might have a bad experience, we know that Monty Travel is an agent, so it relies on a network of suppliers whom it doesn't control. Also, some customers have already had bad experiences that resulted in injuries or illness. Now that we've got the objectives and the outcomes, we need to consider uncertainty. Uncertainty has 2 parts. How likely the outcome will happen, and the degree of its impact on the objective. In real life, we usually have to guess. Sometimes we can use models, but there's always a margin of error. Now it's your turn to assess the likelihood and magnitude of these risks for Monty Travel. Hit pause while you plot it on this graph, and I'll see you after the break. Let's start with the change in market trend. The background mentions several times that Monty Travel is already being affected. The trend is also consistent with how I and most people I know book travel, so we're probably on the high side for likelihood. Magnitude is trickier. We know market share has dropped, but not how much. But if more customers choose to book directly online, then Monty Travel will make less sales. That means the movement in revenue is a good proxy for magnitude. From the P&L, revenue has dropped about $20 million each year since 20X1. And while we won't discuss materiality in this video, This gives us an indication that the magnitude of the change in market trend is on the high end as well. Keep in mind there are many drivers of revenue, so it's unlikely that the change in market trend is the sole reason for the drop in revenue. However, market share is a key driver, so it does corroborate our assessment. Similarly, for the risk related to reliance on third-party accommodation, likelihood is high since there have already been incidents. Again, magnitude is tricky. While Monty Travel has paid out compensation, we don't know how much, the proportion of affected customers, or whether there's been litigation as a result, which is possible. Depending on what the actual facts are, we could be down here or up here. All things considered, we're probably somewhere in the middle and certainly at a lower magnitude compared to the risk from the change in market trend. So here's where we are in our process of identifying and assessing risks for Monty Travel. We've looked at all the possible risks, considered whether they affect the business, then looked at whether they affect the financial statements, and assessed their likelihood and magnitude to determine if they're going to be material. Your CSG has examples of assessing whether risks require special audit considerations or are related to possible fraud. There's more risks in the case study, so try and identify them before you check out the solutions. Analyzing risks is more of an art than a science. It depends on the information that you have and how you apply professional judgment. So, how'd you go? Share your thoughts and any other questions you have in the comments below or on the discussion board. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. How about Hawaii? Too sunny? What about New Zealand? Hong Kong?